Have you ever been meditating and suddenly felt something strange? Let's jump into the topic with references from ancient scriptures. This video is divided into 11 small chapters about what is it and why is it, and also contains reference from Vedanta and Upanishads. When you meditate, you might feel your body seems to become lighter. The boundaries of your body begin to disappear. You may feel as if you are becoming larger and larger, almost as if you are expanding beyond your physical body and merging with the space around you. For a moment, you may even lose the sense of where your body ends and the world begins. Is this just your imagination? Ancient Indian spiritual traditions explored experiences remarkably similar to this thousands of years ago, and their answer may completely change the way you understand meditation. Chapter 1: The feeling of expanding. When we normally experience ourselves, there is a strong sense of separation. You feel, this is my body, that is the room, that is the world outside me. Your body creates a boundary between what you call me and everything else. But as meditation becomes deeper, attention can move away from the physical senses. You become less focused on your hands, your legs, your breathing, and eventually even the feeling of having a physical body. And something unusual can happen. Instead of feeling like a small person sitting inside a room, you may feel as though the room is somehow inside your awareness. You might experience spaciousness, expansion, weightlessness, or even a feeling that your body has completely disappeared. Some people describe it as becoming one with the surrounding space. Others describe it as feeling infinite. Meditation can change how the brain processes bodily sensations and spatial boundaries. But the experience itself raises a fascinating philosophical question. What exactly is the self that we normally experience as our body? Chapter 2: The body is not the whole of you. Think about your body for a moment. You can observe your hands, your breathing, sensations in your chest. You can observe thoughts appearing in your mind. But if you can observe all of these things, then who is the observer? This question lies at the heart of many Indian philosophical traditions. A very important point. The Upanishads repeatedly ask us to look beyond the things we normally identify with. You are aware of your body. You are aware of your thoughts. You are aware of your emotions. But the awareness itself is something different from the objects appearing within it. This is where meditation becomes more than simply relaxation. It becomes an investigation into consciousness. Chapter 3: Tat Tvam Asi. One of the most famous teachings of the Upanishads comes from the Chandogya Upanishad. The phrase is Tat Tvam Asi. It is commonly translated as that thou art. The teaching suggests that the deepest reality, that, is not fundamentally separate from you. This doesn't mean that your individual personality is literally the entire universe. It points towards something subtler. The consciousness through which you experience yourself may not be as separate from reality as your ordinary experience makes it seem. Normally, we think, I am here, the universe is out there. But Advaita Vedanta asks, what if this division is partly created by the way the mind organizes experience? Chapter 4: Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Another profound statement appears in the Chandogya Upanishad 3.14.1. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. It is often translated as, all this is indeed Brahman. Brahman here does not simply mean a god sitting somewhere in the universe. In Advaita Vedanta, Brahman refers to the ultimate reality, the fundamental reality underlying everything. The Upanishadic vision is that reality is not ultimately divided into countless independent things. Instead, everything arises within one underlying reality. And this creates an interesting connection with that strange feeling you may experience during meditation. When the usual boundaries of the body become less prominent, you may temporarily experience yourself as less separate from your surroundings. The ancient sages might have looked at such an experience and asked, what happens when the mind stops constantly reinforcing the feeling of separation? Chapter 5: But is this enlightenment? Not necessarily. This distinction is extremely important. Feeling yourself expand during meditation does not automatically mean that you have become enlightened. Meditation can produce many unusual experiences. You might see lights, you might feel vibrations, you might experience your body becoming enormous or extremely small. You might feel like you're floating. You might experience silence, bliss, or a sense of timelessness. These experiences can be beautiful, but in spiritual traditions, an experience is still an experience. It comes, and eventually it goes. Enlightenment, in the classical Advaita sense, is not about collecting extraordinary experiences. It is about recognizing the nature of the experiencer. Chapter 6. Who is aware of your thoughts? Imagine you are sitting in meditation. Your body feels distant. Your thoughts become quieter. The room seems to disappear. There is only a vast sense of awareness. Instead of immediately asking, "What am I experiencing?" try asking, "Who is aware of this experience?" If there is a feeling of expansion, who knows that you are expanding? If there is silence, who knows that there is silence? If the body disappears from your awareness, does the awareness itself disappear? This is where meditation can transform into self-inquiry. The goal isn't necessarily to create a special experience. It is to investigate the one who is experiencing everything. Chapter 7. Don't force your feelings, be the observer. There is another subtle point. You don't have to try to make yourself expand during meditation. Don't force the feeling. Don't imagine your body becoming enormous. Don't try to manufacture a mystical experience. Instead, simply observe. If the body feels heavy, observe it. If the body feels light, observe it. If you feel boundaries disappearing, observe that. If nothing happens at all, observe that too. Meditation isn't about achieving a particular sensation. It is about becoming deeply aware of whatever is happening without immediately identifying with it. Chapter 8. Example of the ocean and the wave. There is a beautiful analogy used in Indian philosophy. Imagine an ocean. A wave rises from the ocean. The wave has a particular shape. It has a beginning, it has an end. It might say, "I am separate from the ocean." But the wave is never actually separate from the water. Its individuality exists as a temporary form. In a similar way, we normally experience ourselves as separate individuals. I am John. This is my body. This is my life. This is my mind. But Advaita asks us to look deeper. What is the underlying reality of this individual experience? The wave doesn't need to destroy itself to become the ocean. It only needs to recognize what it has always been made of. Chapter 9. What happens when the boundary disappears? Perhaps this is why the experience of expanding can feel so profound. For a few moments, the mind may stop emphasizing, "I am this body located here," and instead, there may simply be awareness, no clear boundary, no strong sense of inside and outside, just experience happening. From a scientific perspective, there are possible explanations involving how the brain constructs our sense of bodily boundaries and spatial location. From a spiritual perspective, however, the experience can become an invitation to investigate something much deeper. Is consciousness really as limited as the body makes it appear? We should be careful not to claim that meditation has scientifically proven that individual consciousness is literally the universe. Science has not established that. That is a philosophical and spiritual interpretation. But the question itself is ancient. Chapter 10. The Upanishadic Invitation. The Upanishads don't simply tell you, "Believe this." They repeatedly encourage inquiry. Look within. Question what you assume yourself to be. You think you are the body, but the body is constantly changing. You think you are your thoughts, but thoughts constantly appear and disappear. You think you are your emotions, but emotions also come and go. So what remains? What is present through all these changes? This investigation eventually leads to one of the central ideas of Vedanta. The self, Atman, is not merely the changing body or mind. And in Advaita Vedanta, Atman is understood as not separate from Brahman. Chapter 11. The next time you meditate. So the next time you sit down to meditate, don't chase the feeling of expansion. Don't try to make yourself disappear. Simply become quiet. Notice your breathing. Notice your body. Notice your thoughts. And if, at some point, the boundaries of your body begin to feel less definite, don't be afraid. Don't immediately label it as supernatural. Just observe. And then ask yourself, who is aware of this? Perhaps the most interesting discovery isn't that you can feel yourself expanding, Perhaps it is discovering that the awareness in which the feeling appears was never confined to that particular sensation in the first place. And maybe this is what the ancient statement, Tat Tvam Asi, was inviting us to investigate. Not, you can become the universe, but something much more radical. Perhaps at the deepest level, you were never as separate from reality as you thought you were. The ordinary mind says, I am a person living inside a body, surrounded by a universe. Meditation can sometimes turn that perspective upside down. For a moment, you may experience there is simply awareness, and everything is appearing within it. Whether you interpret that experience neurologically, psychologically, philosophically, or spiritually, it can become a powerful doorway into self-inquiry. Because eventually, the most important question isn't, how big can I feel? It is, who am I, before I define myself as this body, this mind, and this identity? And perhaps that is where meditation stops being merely a practice and becomes a journey toward discovering the self.